I needed her to be one of these guest speakers. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to you, Shelby, and have you run here.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you guys so much for joining. And also thank you so much, Meredith, for having me. It's an honor. Like Meredith said, we met on Instagram. I think we'd followed each other for a while. And all of a sudden I was like, okay, she's always popping up on my social media. I need to reach out to her in some way. So we literally just connected via DMs and the rest was history. So that's just a quick testament to the power of Instagram, because now I'm sitting here with all of you, and that may have not have been the case if I didn't reach Instagram through, with Meredith. So anyways, if you guys have any questions at all today, feel free to pop them in the chat. Meredith is going to be monitoring that. And we will also be sending out not only the replay, but the full presentation as well. So you can feel free to take notes, but we will also send you the hard copy of this presentation. Just because, I mean, a lot of the things too, you might want to jot down, but try and be fully present if you want to be, so you can get the most out of what we're going to chat about today. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and we will get started. Okay, can everyone see this presentation? Awesome. Okay, so today we're going to focus a lot on your brand identity and how to grow an audience that loves to follow you on social media. So, you know, there's a lot of things that we're going to be diving into because this is more than just one piece that goes into social media. I actually own a social media management company, and we manage social media pages for business owners, entrepreneurs, all the things, because it's not something that everybody can't do, but a lot of the times people fall short of actually posting because it's just not their strong suit. They're spending time doing other things that they love to do in their business, which makes sense because you're growing your business. But it's one of those things where it's become such a powerful resource and really an important one if you want to continue to grow your business. Just like Meredith and I met, you can reach so many people that you may not have otherwise been able to reach just through the channels of social media. So today we're going to go over really how to grow an audience that loves to follow you on social media so that business starts to feel easy. You know, those reach outs and sales and all that type of stuff doesn't actually have to feel so salesy when you can connect and build an audience that truly is, you know, your ideal client. So today we're going to chat about how to build that, how to call that in, and give you some tangible strategies really to start showing up on social media. You might hear me talk a little bit about mindset. That's really an important piece in how I've grown to what I've grown. We've got a team of 5 girls right now, and that's actually growing this week. And, you know, I go back to this is a social media presentation, but mindset really does have a massive part in playing what you're building. So I might chat about that a little bit as well, because stepping into who you want to become really has a big effect on who you call in for your social media audience. Okay, so today, just a quick overview, we'll go over how to build your goals for social media, what that kind of looks like, your target audience, and building your brand vision. So kind of curating who you actually want to call in. Social media, you know, it's actually a lot more intentional than what people might think. And the more intentional you get with what you're building, the easier it will be to call in the exact type of business that you want. And audience. So content themes, we're going to go over how to build these, what that looks like for your specific business, social media platforms, consistency, and the trust factor. So we're just going to talk about why it's so important to be consistent on social media and how that actually plays a factor in what you're building, and the trust factor as well. You're going to also see some sample Instagram stories, schedules, and tips. So a lot of people come to me and ask me how to build and how to engage. And this is going to be tangible for you to actually take that schedule and hopefully implement that. Building and executing strategies, calls to actions, and hashtags. So this is going to be more related to the captions that you're building, and really how to create captivating captions that turn into an actionable step being taken. Okay, so not just putting out the post, for the sake of posting, but really posting it with lots of intention and giving clear instructions for people to actually make a move on that post. We're going to talk about analytics and insights on Instagram and kind of how to use these to your advantage. And then I'll tell you my favorite apps for planning social media management and or for doing your social media management if you're going to do it yourself, as well as just kind of like simple tools for creating some simple marketing. Okay. So hopefully today you actually have a lot of actionable things that you can do from this call, whether you're currently a business owner working towards it, or maybe you just want to grow your personal brand on social media. This is for you. Okay. So I own Hale Creative Co. That is my social media marketing agency. You can follow us on Instagram at Hale Creative Co. And feel free, if you'd like, to practice using your stories. You could take a picture or a video, or even a boomerang if you're feeling spicy for of the webinar, and then feel free to tag us if you'd like. We will reshare it. Okay. So the first thing is getting clear on your goals. I cannot stress enough how important this is. So many people will skip this step. And I know that because initially when I learned this, I was one of those people. Okay. I was just like, no. I just, I have the vision of what I want to build and I just want to get there now. We really need to get clear on who it is that we are actually trying to call in. Okay. What I mean by that is, we can't typically get to where we want to go if we don't know where we're going. Okay. That just makes sense. So what you want to do is, what's your goal of having a social media account, right? Like, is it that you want to have a call in a certain amount of new clients, or do you want to hit a certain amount of new sales? Do you want to grow your email list? Do you want to increase your engagement so that you can turn those followers into paying customers? Like, what is your purpose for being on a platform, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, all the things? What is the purpose? What are you wanting to do in either building your business or building your own personal brand? So nowadays, we have these things called social media influencers, and that's a real job. Okay. A lot of people, on that journey to seeing this rising industry might not still fully understand that, but building a personal brand is actually something you can do on social media. So, you can get paid for different things with collabs with influencers, different brands, all that stuff. So if you happen to want to dive into that, we won't on today's call, but feel free to reach out to me anytime and I can help with that. Regardless, if you are a business who is trying to call in more clientele, say that's your goal, that's a great goal to have. So now from there, we can start building who we want to call in to grow that business. Okay. So we want to do this because we want to make sure that the time we're spending on social media is used efficiently and that you're using your resources wisely. It's very easy to get down a social media rabbit hole. You can be following people that might not be conducive of even who you're trying to call in. So really be sure that, especially if you are using this tool for business, that the whole part of what you're doing on social media is kind of moving towards that same goal. So what I mean is, when you're just scrolling on social media, that can actually be part of your research and development. I know for myself, when I'm watching TikToks or Reels, I'm searching for trending audios for my business or for my clients that I have. So I'm like constantly kind of using it as a tool for other things that I'm doing in business. And you can also do this for your own industry, so long as you know why you're on the platform. Okay, so get clear on where you want to grow to, and what you want to start calling in on social media, because this is going to start to show you what you are going to need to put out there to call in the right people. Okay, so get clear on that goal. The next thing is that we want to define your target audience. And I'm not just talking about like getting, very general and being like, oh, between the ages of 20 and 55. Like, I want you to seriously see one person as your target audience and get super, super clear so that when you are writing your posts, it feels like you're just talking to one person. Okay. And that person, it kind of a lot of people can kind of get into this funk of, I don't know if I say it this way, then I might not be hitting this niche, or I might not be hitting that one. If you have one defined audience, that's going to certainly help you when you are writing captions or putting out posts, because you know that that person is going to resonate with the content. Okay, so naturally, people who are looking for what you have and how you're serving will be drawn to your type of content. You'll call in other people as well. But for the purpose of like figuring out what type of content you want to put out there, it's good to have that niched target audience so that it's easier for you to create the content. Okay. And if this were a mindset call, I would kind of tell you to visualize this person and not just write it down. Really get clear on who this is and sit down with them. Like if you can, try and close your eyes and like maybe take this person to lunch and get clear on exactly who it is that you are speaking to. This is an activity that, it's funny because it stumps a lot of business owners who are already in business. When we onboard a new social media client, and you'll kind of see in the next slides, is we send this brand identity doc just to help us get clear on the voice that we're going to be using to step into for their business. And, you wouldn't believe how many business owners are like, I don't know who my ideal client is, right? And that's okay. A lot of times, we step into things and we're just going. There's so many things to do, so we're just going. But the more clear you can get on who you're calling in your business, which translates to who you're calling in on social media, of course, the easier it is that you're going to be able to be in alignment with the energy of who that is. And in the manifestation world, alignment is how you call people in. Okay, so really getting clear on not only the target audience for social media, but really your ideal client for your business. They go hand in hand. Okay, so yeah, if you guys can do some visualizations, and really what that looks like is just getting quiet with yourself, tapping into the energy of who you're calling in, and really starting to see what their needs are. What are their pain points? Why are they coming to you? Why is your industry, why is your business, or the service or the products you have going to be the thing that solve their specific problem that they want to overcome? Okay, so this is going to really help you, because as soon as you are stepping into posting actual content, if you know the problems or issues that you are trying to help people solve, that you know how to solve, it's going to be easier for you to provide those solutions. Okay, so this is what's going to help you build content pillars. Does that make sense? Okay, so don't skip this piece. Really try to will yourself to know who that ideal client is, because the more specific you get, the easier it is going to be for you to step into the energy of the person who needs what you have. Okay. So the next piece of this is that brand identity doc. So I screenshotted a couple of sections from our branding doc that we send to new social media clients to call in their ideal client. Okay, so I won't go through this in detail on this call for the purpose of time, but in the presentation you'll have it, and you can feel free to ask yourself these questions. Okay. This is just going to help you get really clear, and it might not take you overnight to fill this out. Okay, but it's one of those exercises where it's actually going to bleed into several other parts of your business if you can answer these questions. So do take your time and really be intentional about the ideal client that you're building, because it does matter. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on that so far? Building the ideal client. So first, getting clear on your social media goals. Why are you even using the platform? Okay. Are you using it because you think you have to use it? Or are you using it because you genuinely want to use it as a new tool to call in more clients? Okay. And then from there, really targeting who you want to call in. okay? And building the vision of that person. The next thing you're going to get clear on is your content themes, okay? So once you know what you want to achieve with your social media, it's time to figure out how to do just that. This is where your content, so images, videos, and the words you're putting out into the world is king, okay? Keep in mind, not all posts should be overly promotional and salesy. I think that, you know, that goes to say with anything, too much of one thing might not be such a good thing. So try and find a balance within your content themes of, you know, providing service to your audience so that they're coming and it's just a wealth of knowledge. Like they're coming to you and they're actually learning things about whatever you serve, whatever area you serve in. Okay. And then of course, here and there, you wouldn't have a business if you didn't make sales. So we have to throw in sales here and there to, you know, actually call in the clientele that we are wanting to serve. Okay. So what this looks like is different for everyone. But one of the things is don't be afraid to ask for the sale. Okay. Because sometimes our audience, you know, they're so immersed in our content because let's just say we've checked that box, we're doing a great job. We've got a few different content pillars. And, you know, I would say anywhere from 4 to 5 is a good range for content themes so that you are providing enough different type of content for your audience, but not like overwhelming them and then them coming to you and not really understanding at all what you do. Okay. And what I mean by this is, you know, picking a few different things. So like I said, 4 to 5 different things that you are going to share or talk about on your page. Okay. So you might have a couple of different services that you offer. You might be someone who loves to read books, or maybe you like to travel. So throw in things within your social media content that are relatable. You want to get to the point where, let's just say, actually, I'll give a really good example. So one of the people that I follow, she loves ice caps. She loves Tim Hortons ice caps. Okay. And I know this about her because she shares it, right? So every time she has an ice cap, she posts on her stories about her ice cap. Or if the Tim Hortons ice cap machines aren't working one day, she'll be like, well, Tim Hortons, I didn't get my ice cap. Anyways, it's this running theme. And then the other day she posted a picture of a Starbucks cup. And, you know, I was in her DMs immediately being like, what is happening? Why do you have Starbucks? And anyways, later that day, she screenshot how many people reached out to her in her DMs because she posted about Starbucks. And it's just a testament to like, people are following. Like if there's a meme about an ice cap on social media, I would probably send it to her because that's part of what she always shares. Okay. So, and then subconsciously, I'm thinking about her. Okay. Well, she's a branding photographer as well. So, you know, if I need branding photography, who is probably the first person I'm going to think of? Well, Miss Ice Cap, right? So you can have fun with it. It doesn't always have to be content themes that are business. Throw in something as well that is relatable, that lights you up so that you can make your social media fun. Okay. And this can be anything. That was just an example to kind of paint a picture for you, you know, of the power of consistent themes. Because really I'm not the only one who thinks of her when I think of ice caps. Okay. So think of something that is unique to you. Okay. And really inject your page with things that light you up. You know, even though it's a business page, try and also bring out who you are, right, as a person, because at the end of the day, if someone can connect to you, you've already made the sale, right? Like whatever you have, if someone is connecting with you down the road, if they need that thing, or if they know someone who needs that thing, I mean, it's already a sale if they've connected to you as a person. Okay. So don't be afraid to inject your personality into your social media. And I think, I mean, there's obviously tons of different stats on like how many posts you should do before you ask for the sale. But really just whatever feels like a good balance to you. And back to my point of not being afraid to ask for the sale. Sometimes your audience needs in like very clear instruction on what to do if they want to work with you or how they purchase your products. So don't be afraid to say, hey, if you would like this product, go to the link in my bio, click here. Like you can even do little tutorials if you want. But even at the end of a post, okay, direct them to how they can actually have the thing that you're promoting. Okay, don't be afraid to do that, because oftentimes, honestly, people come to me and say like, you know, I've got DMs, but they just don't know what to do next. So like, how do I direct them very clearly to make sure that they know how to do it themselves, right? Because that will actually save you time, and that's a win for everyone. Okay, so be clear to your audience about how they can have the thing that you're promoting. Okay, and don't be afraid to do that. Here's where the mindset piece of that comes in is, you know, really when you get clear on the audience that you are trying to call in, or the people who you want to make sales to, you can relate to them on a different level because you know what problems they are trying to solve in coming to you. And step into, you know, I am the expert. I have what they need. I sell the product they need. And, you know, really stepping into the confident version of you, that version of you is what's going to help make the sale. Because if they know that you know you're the expert, then they'll trust that you're the expert. Okay, so if you can, when you're doing visualizations, again, this is a social media call, but really try and building confidence into this person that you see yourself as when you show up on social media. Okay, it can be scary to show up on social media. There are so many days when even I am like, oh my gosh, I just don't want to hop on stories today. I just really don't, but I know I have to. So what I'll do instead is, you know, maybe I'll take a picture and then I'll write out what I want to say. Okay, so there's so many different ways you can show up. And until you kind of feel that confidence in what you are sharing. But I can promise you that if you feel it and you know that you're the expert and you know what you have is the right thing for your target audience that you've called in, they're going to believe it too. Okay. So I call it a self-image script, or, you know, kind of building the character of who you want to step into, but build confidence into that and see yourself as this person who excels on social media, right? Maybe look to the people who you follow. What type of personality traits do they have? Or how are they showing up for their audience? Okay. Because this is one of the biggest things that I think people have trouble overcoming in the social media world initially, is just showing up and feeling confident in doing so. Okay. But remember that at the end of the day, there's an unfollow button. So if someone doesn't resonate with your content anymore, they can just hit unfollow. So hopefully the people that are there, they want to hear you, right? And they want to be immersed in how you've built what you've built and what you're selling. Okay, so really start to step into this confidence and knowing that they're there for a reason. And honestly, they don't have to be there. So if they didn't want to be there, they wouldn't be. So one of the things that I often say is like, you know, we're doing a disservice to people if we are not showing up in our highest self, right? Like you have such a gift and you've built such an amazing thing, or you're building such an amazing thing. And that gift is for the world to see, right? But if we're not showing up, how can they see it, right? So start to build that confidence. And once you start to show up more and more, and you start to see, well, not only sales, but, you know, you start to have conversations with people in the background of your social media, in the DMs, and there's comments on your content. Hopefully that helps you to build faith in the service that you have, and it will just have a snowball effect on the rest of your business. Okay. So the next piece of this is the types of social media platforms. So we won't spend too much time on this, but we of course have different social media platforms that we can show up on, namely Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Pinterest, LinkedIn. Those are kind of the major players. And if you're just starting on social media, I would say Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. If you can kind of get on a few, those would be your platforms. TikTok and Instagram Reels, you can kind of repurpose content. Instagram and Facebook, you can repurpose content. Well, across all platforms, you really can, but that's kind of that's for another presentation, repurposing content. But if you're just starting out or if you have a business, I would for sure, at the very least, say Instagram and Facebook is what you should be on. They both have very different audiences. Instagram definitely used to be an aesthetic thing. It's not so much that anymore. It's more about the content you're providing for people. Okay. So, don't feel like you have to have this like perfect, picture perfect feed. Now, there is something to say about a feed that is curated and looks cohesive and the branding is on point. Meredith's team can help you with that. But at the end of the day, it's not so much about what it looks like, but more what you're putting out there. Okay. Now, Facebook is more one of those things I find that, like, when people do a Google search of your business, it's going to be one of the top hits for sure. Might not be the very top, but it's going to be high up there. And social media builds credibility. So if they go to your Facebook or Instagram page and either you don't have one or it hasn't been populated for 2 years, it's almost like a resume for your business, right? So you kind of got to think of the way you choose service providers, or maybe you're doing a renovation and a trade or something like that. Like, it shows you how credible they are if you can see that they're on social media. If they've got like populated social media and there's tons of their work, like, that's going to help you make your decision pretty quickly, right? So as far as platforms go, pick a couple and kind of run with them in the beginning. Okay. We're at the point where now we're going to be starting to add more Pinterest. We're going to be populating Pinterest and like blogs and that type of stuff. But like, none of that has to come at the beginning. But it's definitely good to know that there are lots of vehicles for social media and how to reach different audiences. Okay. So this is more just to let you know that there is lots of social platforms. If I was going to tell you to pick two, I would say start with Instagram and Facebook and run with those. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at with the social media platforms. Instagram breakdown. You can kind of get into this more if you want to following the presentation. But I kind of give a breakdown of the audience that you'll find on Instagram and Facebook, and what the key factors are in how to build on these platforms themselves. Okay. And the types of content that people are looking for. Yeah, so you guys can kind of dive into that more on your own, just so that we can kind of keep going through. Consistency. Okay, so this is the number one thing that I think that business owners just fall short on. And honestly, I'm guilty of it too, because I'm a social media manager, and guess whose social media platforms come before mine? Literally all the clients. So that's kind of ironic. But it's one of those things where it's like, your business so well. It's like you're doing it like day in and day out. And if you're building a personal brand, same thing. You're just like, you're the one who's in it. And sometimes we just overthink things too much. And then we end up falling short on one thing that honestly is going to provide so much value to the growth of your business and to your audience, is literally just being consistent. So I say to people, like, if you kind of, when you're picking your content themes, I mean, you can also create a schedule that goes with your content theme. So if you want to do a specific type of content pillar on Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays, etc., go for it. But pick a realistic schedule. And if you can, stay consistent on that. Like, if you want to do, I'm going to give you like an example schedule that hopefully doesn't feel too overwhelming when I say it, but is also attainable. If you're doing anywhere from even 3 to 5 posts a week, okay, 4 to 5 I would try to aim for, but even 3, okay? Posts, feed posts on your actual page, okay? And then stories is one of those things that you can really never have too much, although Instagram is potentially moving towards a change of stories, where like if you have more than 3 stories in a day, so those 15-second clips, we're going to have to tab a button to see the rest of the stories. Okay, so if someone has like 10 stories from that day that haven't expired yet, you'll be able to see the first 3, and then if someone wants to watch the rest, you'll have to tap it to see. So that change will be interesting. I don't know how long that will be there for, and they'll roll it out slow at the beginning. But regardless, at this point in time, you can never have enough stories, really. And the idea of that is to just walk people through your day to day, like show them the behind the scenes of what you've built. I mean, think of who you like to follow on social media. Again, going back to that piece, like, do you like to follow people who hop on their stories a few times a day and give you an update of how things are going, or a look into, maybe they've overcome a hurdle in their business or what have you? But it's really just showing up for your audience. That's what it comes down to. Because if you go silent for a month or 2 months and then all of a sudden come back, one, that's going to be hindering your algorithm. We don't really need to talk about the algorithm, but it kind of pulls you away from your audience. Okay, if you're consistent on social media, your content will continuously be pushed to your audience. Okay, so be realistic when you pick a schedule for yourself. You can start slow, but try to make it so that it feels good. Okay, because your energy when you come on social media really does matter to see who you're actually going to be calling in. Okay, and if you don't feel like you want to show your face on stories or what have you, that's totally fine. Maybe take a picture of your workstation, or maybe you went for coffee that morning with a friend. There's lots of things you can do, which I do give you a bunch of ideas in the upcoming slide. But it comes down to consistency. Okay, so whatever you're doing, and if you want to hop on the Reels train and all of that, again, we won't fully get into that, but Reels are videos. They're short videos, and they're super captivating. And right now, I mean, if you don't want to do anything but Reels, I mean, you could still call in a great audience. And that's just kind of something that you have to decide what feels good, because that actually takes time in filming those and getting the trending audios and putting it with your niche and all that type of stuff. It's not doable though. Okay, you could very well work once a month on Reels and just do them all in a few hour time span, save them all, and then ensure that you're posting those each week. And that's what we do with our clients as well, is we batch work. So we work usually about 2 weeks ahead of time, sometimes more, sometimes a little bit less, depending on if the client is like a real estate agent. That changes weekly, so we have to be a little bit more current with them and not working ahead. But you can do this with your own business. Okay, so feel free to, if you're inspired to, create ahead of time. Okay, so pull in some photos, or I'm going to give you the planning apps that we use so that you can plan content ahead of time. And then I'll also tell you the tools to schedule those out, and they can go out automatically. Okay, so batch working, especially for social media, can really, really help, especially when you're a busy person and you can't just, hop on social media every single day. Okay. So building the trust factor, 23% of consumers are likely to stop engaging with brands if the brand does not deliver what they advertise. Okay, so when we are stepping into marketing and advertising on social media, it's really important that we say that we can deliver what we have, and also just really showing up for that audience consistently, like we just talked about. That's also going to build the trust factor. Okay, show up as your authentic self, share testimonials from past customers. So whether you have a service or a product, seeing proof in the pudding can make sales all day long. Okay, like people can hear it from you and maybe they see it on your page, but when they see it from someone else, sometimes it feels a little bit different. Okay, so don't be afraid to share the wins. Okay, and that's why like you can even build and train your audience to tag you. Okay, so if they buy a product, you could maybe have a little card in what they've purchased, and there could be some sort of incentive for them if you say, hey, if you like what you got, tag me on social media. So now you're able to, it's free marketing. Okay, so if they tag you on social media, you can reshare their post, and then your audience is seeing, wow, okay, other people are buying this and other people love this product. And you could potentially even have like I said, some sort of incentive. You could say, for everyone who tags us every single month, we'll do a draw for a free whatever, or maybe a credit towards your products or services. Okay, so you can kind of get creative in the ways that you train your audience to also tag you. Okay, because the more that they're sharing on their platforms, that's going to be free marketing essentially for you, for anybody who's following that person. Do you see how like the connections on social media are limitless if you are pulling in people from other audiences as well? Okay, so use that to your advantage, and add value more often than you ask for the sale. Okay, so whatever your niche might be, try and add pockets of the things day to day that help you in your industry, or when you're, creating your product or service, that actually will be tangible for your audience to use in their business or use in their everyday life. Okay, so the more value you can provide, the better. Okay. Here is the social media Instagram stories schedule that you will get. Well, it's in the presentation, so you'll be able to have it here. And this is just kind of a really, really simple overview of what you could be sharing on stories every single day. And two, feel free, like when you're doing your business, or maybe when you have like client calls and all that type of stuff, share that. Okay, like of course, if it's with a client, make sure that you're not like sharing client details in the background of the webinar or anything like that, but share more than you think, because people love to see what's going on in people's lives. That is what social media is. Okay, so as much as you're comfortable sharing, don't be afraid to step into it. Okay, stories is like the day-to-day of who you are, and then the feed posts, what you're putting out there, you want to kind of be endlessly valuable. Okay, this will also be in the PDF. So this is the type of thing that you want your ideal client to feel. Okay, so when you are putting out content, these are a few of the things that it's good to kind of portray when you're putting out that content. And then some samples of content that you can put on your stories: behind the scenes, mindset, problems and solution, tips, your outfit, a beautiful view, a new habit, really anything. Okay, just again, think of the things that you're interested in seeing, and then think of the things that your ideal client would be interested in seeing, and post those. Okay, if people don't want to follow, they won't. But more often than not, people are more than happy to see what's going on in people's day-to-day. There has to be some sort of content on social media for them to watch, right? So building and executing on that strategy. Okay, so calls to action. This is what's going to be at the bottom of every caption, or within your stories if you're doing like an engaging story to actually make a sale. A call to action. Okay, so this just means that you're actively giving your audience a tangible next step in order to call them in, make the sale, sell the product, whatever. Okay, so what do your social media posts offer? Okay, so you want to, what do calls to actions offer? They help to increase engagement on a post. So if you say things like, comment below with your favorite insert, and then put like little emojis pointing down, that's like prompting people to comment on your post, okay? Which would increase engagement, okay? Or if you are asking, you know, what's your favorite this, or what are you doing this weekend? You are actively trying to have people engage with your content. Do you see what that means? Okay, so then this is going to help not only with your engagement and your reach on socials, but you'll actually start to see who is really paying attention to your content. Okay, if you have people who are consistently commenting on your socials and you haven't talked to them in DMs, you probably should. Okay, those are people who are like, they're interested, right? They're interested in what you have or what you sell. So maybe can you get one-on-one with them, even in DMs, and help them to try and solve whatever they're coming to you for. Okay. So you can do things like generating a buzz for a launch. You can promote a discount, create a sense of urgency. So like, this sale is only going to last for 3 days, or, you know, save this post for later when you need to make a good recipe, whatever that might be. Okay. Here's a few tangible things that you can actually write at the end of the caption. And I mean, you can Google these, you can think of them yourself, but it's just actionable things. So raise your hand if, can you relate? You don't want to miss this sale. You know, just launched today, tag a friend. That's all. That's another one as well. Tag a friend who could use this information. And typical outcomes with calls to actions are that they subscribe. Maybe they subscribe to your email list or your YouTube channel, or they share it. Better yet, okay, if they share your post to their stories, say, now their audience is seeing your post as well. So not only your audience, but theirs. Outcome examples of a call to action for commenting, so that they actually comment on your content, that they register for something, that they answer a question, or that they learn more from your content. Okay, now we'll talk about hashtags a little bit. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Hashtags are changing so much. You can have 30 hashtags. Okay, you can have up to 30 hashtags right now, and you can either put them at the bottom of your post, or you can, you know, do a first post comment with hashtags. Honestly, we're around like 8 to 15 in every post at this point in time. It can even be a little less, to be honest. Really try and get intentional with it. The app that we use is called Plann, Plann. There's a lot of great social media planning apps, Planoly, Later, Hootsuite, ton of them. But a couple of them now have features where you can search your keyword or industry or niche, and it will like kind of give you a search result back of hashtags. Okay, so we like to have a balance of, you know, the over 100K hits for the hashtag usage itself and under. Okay, if you're getting to hashtags that are overused too much, you kind of you're messing with how much your post could actually be seen in that hashtag. Okay, like if it's a hashtag that's used all the time and someone goes to search that hashtag to see what's trending, your post might get pushed down really quickly because it's a very popular hashtag to use, and if people are using it consistently, it might not be the first one that people see. Okay, and this would be to reach a new audience. That being said, like hashtags that have under 100K hits, you're potentially more likely to be seen. So a good mix of both. And when you type in a hashtag on Instagram, you are able to see how many times or how many hits that hashtag has. So a good balance between, you know, a few over 100K and then a few under 100K hits is a good balance of what we usually aim to do. And like I said, if you have a planning app that gives you that feature, it does it for you. So you would just type in the industry, let's say it's real estate, and then it would give you back a ton of hashtag banks already done for you. So not even just one hashtag, like hashtag banks that are already ready for you. And then you can just click them and it adds to the end of your post that you are that you're creating. And you can delete some of them or you can add some. But whatever feels good, it gives you a base to start from. Okay, they are good. I mean, I don't think hashtags will ever go away. I don't know how much they are serving Instagram pages right now because of things like reels. Like people are watching videos and all that type of stuff, and you know, not so much searching with the hashtag feature, but it's definitely something that you want to use, just not overuse. Okay. Here's an example of, this is my personal page. This was a little bit back. And the only reason I have this in here was because I wanted to show you specific, can you see my mouse where I am here? Okay, so I wanted to show you how many accounts my reels reached. Okay, and this was an older reel, so it's gone up from now for sure. But you can see here, like my posts, this in this month time period reached about 1,500 people, and this is new people. Okay, this is people who don't who don't follow already. Well, you can see here that 911 were followers out of the whole month, and then 10.3 people were reached that were non-followers. But look, that was on a reel. Okay, so this was with my reels. That's how many accounts I reached. So it's just kind of like, it's one of those things. You can see here the number of people who saw these posts as well. So typically over 1,000 people see these posts. I don't get that many likes, but that counts for the engagement because people were stopped, okay, on those posts. So anyways, this all bleeds into the Instagram algorithm, and you know, we don't have to get too much into that, but I wanted to show you the power of the video content. Okay, the video content, this is the actual insight on that one video, but it has such a far reach, and reels have a longer lifespan. Okay, so if you feel compelled to get on the reels train, and it's one of those ones that, I mean, it's super fun, but you just got to kind of make yourself consistent at it. It's super powerful. It has a really long lifespan, and you can repurpose that content. So what I mean by that is, like, if you're sharing a few tips in your video, your reel, you could then make an Instagram post later that week or maybe next week, whatever, with 3 slides of the exact same 3 tips that you shared in the reel, right? So you can repurpose content several different ways. But right now, reels have an incredible reach. So if you feel confident enough or compelled to get on that train, maybe you're already on it, amazing. It's powerful. Okay. Here's our favorite planning apps. So right now we use Asana for projects and to-do lists and client management. You can also use this as a CRM. There's a free version. If you have a business, you can kind of pay per user if you're adding team members. Love it. Whatever you're doing, especially if you're a business owner, have an organizational tool in some way. If nothing else, you can use it to help you kind of keep your social media on track, right? Like you can kind of make a schedule for yourself to plan content for a week of June 13th, okay? Dubsado for sending forms and contracts, and so many other things. But I'm just going to kind of give a quick overview. Plan That. That's the one we use for planning clients' social media feeds. You've got a desktop and a mobile version, but you can also use things like Planoly, Later, and those will help you to plan your content ahead of time. So you'll actually be able to see what the photos look like beside each other. And on that note, branding, photo shoots. If you're going to take your social media platform to the next level and you're like, you know what, I'm going to go all in, whether you have a service-based business, product-based business, whatever industry you're in, a branding shoot is never a bad idea. Okay. There are so many great branding photographers out there now, and it really helps to give your feed a professional, up-leveled look. It also just helps you when you're planning content. Like sometimes I have like a ton of ideas, but if before I had a branding shoot, I'd be like, oh my gosh, but what photo do I put with this? So then I found myself not even putting the content out there that was probably pretty valuable because I just didn't feel like I could find the perfect photo, right? Which, I mean, that shouldn't be a reason you're not putting out your good content. So don't be afraid to invest in a branding shoot. It will come back to you tenfold. when you have a social media feed that looks like you care about it, I mean, your clientele, one, that's going to help you call in the right clientele, right? And two, it's just going to be so much easier for you to actually show up. Okay, so branding shoots. Think about it if you haven't already done it, and really try and find someone who can help you be intentional about the shots you're getting. Okay, what I mean by that is, like, if you have a white wall and you're getting a branding shoot, like there's some photos I have where I'm just like pointing up, but I'm pointing to nothing, but then I can repurpose that content for certain things. So it kind of, it comes full circle, knowing what you want to share, knowing what you do, knowing who you want to call in, and you can get intentional about what shots you get at a branding shoot. And then you can import them into these apps. Okay, so the Plan app, specifically, I know it has a media folders. So basically what I do is I'll import client branding shoots into the media folders, and we'll kind of break them down into, shots with people or product shots, whatever. We'll kind of categorize them. And then when we're planning the feed, we can really easily pull over from the media side of things, right from their bank of photos. Okay. So Facebook Business Suite, or Meta Business Suite, it's changed its name to Meta, for scheduling posts to go out automatically. You can also do this on Plan, but just as kind of a second tool, if you're looking for something free, Facebook Business Suite or Meta Business Suite is on the back end of any Facebook business page. If you have a Facebook business page, you get to it by navigating to your business page from your personal Facebook. And then on the top, it's kind of like right under where it says posts, media, about, and it will say manage your page in Meta Business Suite. You can click it and you can manage your DMs through Meta Business Suite, so you don't have to like text back on your phone. And you can also schedule posts and stories to go out automatically through Meta. Okay, so that's, I mean, you don't have to use that. You can use your planning app. Planoly Plan does that automatically through there as well, but that's going to help you like when you're batch working, so you can batch work content and then just schedule it for the whole week to go out. Canva, I love Canva so much. I'm not someone who like grew up doing marketing type of, images on Lightroom or anything like that, or Adobe, but Canva is super user friendly. Okay, and you can have a free version, you can have a paid version. If you're not on Canva, that's awesome for marketing. Creative Market has social media templates, they've got fonts, they've got lots of good stuff. Lightroom to edit photos. If you're having a branding shoot though, you don't need to edit your photos, and please don't edit them because your photographer works hard to edit those. Anyways, and then Pinterest for creating mood boards. So this is kind of one of my hacks for social media is, when you're feeling really connected or aligned to that ideal client, or when you're building your vision, that's a good time to hop on Pinterest. You can create a free account if you don't have one, and make a mood board. You can even make it private to yourself for your business, specifically for calling in that ideal client. And you can kind of just go down a Pinterest rabbit hole of like inspiring quotes, or the types of content that your client might want to see. For example, when you type into Pinterest about a certain industry, a lot of the times a bunch of hits will come back at like pertaining to that industry. So you're actually going to see an insight into the things people are searching for about that industry. Okay, so then all of a sudden, this is going to help you when you're trying to build out what does my audience want to see. You can kind of already have an insight as to what types of things people are searching for. So Pinterest is also a great tool, especially when you're trying to figure out what type of content to put out there if you are in a slump. The last thing is Unsplash and Pexels. Okay, so I'm going to give you two different types. These are free. Okay, these are stock photo sites, and these are free. So they're not terrible. We use a site called Houtstock, Haute stock. Meredith recommended this to me, and it's so good. It's an annual membership, and you know what? It's an investment. Okay, but the investment is so worth it. It's got templates, it's got Reels templates, like feed templates. it's got captions, it's got done for you captions every single month, which obviously you would kind of take and make your own, but caption starters. And it also has a plethora of beautiful photos. Okay. So these are stock images, which are kind of like filler images. Okay. So you would use this in accompaniment with a branding shoot, ideally. And it just kind of gives you, you know, maybe flat lays or something at the beach or something in a home. And you can, it's really, really great. But the point there is that there are sites that you can grab stock images off of to use properly on your social media. Sometimes we see that a lot where you know, people are using other people's photos or they're not citing them properly, and it's just a no. It's a hard no. So try and use photos from a source that, you know, is legitimate and that you are actually able to reuse those images if they're not your own. Pexels and Unsplash specifically, they have creators who will take photos and then upload them and give them to Pexels and Unsplash. So you can, I think you can donate to them. You can also reshare and you tag them as well, but you don't have to. And it's just a testament to keeping, you know, a good feed when you're not taking content from other creators. So that's just kind of a note for good housekeeping. Okay, so yeah, our company, we help to build custom feeds tailored to your brands and goals. You know, and if you guys are feeling like it's time to reach a new audience, it's time to level up, social media is an incredible tool to help get you there. If you haven't tried this avenue yet, I'm sure all of you are on social media who are here. This is just kind of an example of like an intentional feed versus not an intentional feed. Okay, like you can see that. Okay, you can see very much that this is just posting to post, but this was very intentional. Okay, and you kind of, at the end of the day, you've just kind of got to ask yourself, like, what is it that, who am I trying to call in? What do I want to build, and what would I want to see if I was coming to my business page, right? Like, is my business page conducive of what I'm even selling? Like, when I go to it, do I know what I have to offer? So you can even kind of do things like maybe asking a trusted friend or something like that to say, hey, can you go to my social media page and can you tell me what I offer? And do you feel good when you go to my page? Do you know what my offerings are? That type of stuff. You can do a test on your own page. Yeah, so there's lots of things you can do there. I'm going to stop the share here. Okay, that was a lot. Hopefully you're following along. Good thing you have a replay and the presentation. I love social media. It's one of those things where like you can have a love-hate relationship with it, but I've totally made it a vehicle of networking. Like, you don't have to follow people that don't serve you. Okay, like it doesn't just have to be this thing where you're seeing all this stuff of what people build or what people live like, and if it doesn't make you feel good, hit unfollow. Okay, try and like stay in your lane on social media and do what feels good. Build authentically, and you'll call in an audience that truly wants to be there, right? Like, if you've built something that you feel good about, the people there, they'll have that same energy level. So yeah, does anybody have any questions?
Thanks, Shelby.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Questions, anyone? No? All good. Okay.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much. As Shelby just said, I'm going to be resending the presentation and this video so that you guys can refer back to it at any point. So thank you so much. That was awesome. Now I'm excited to batch content.
Right? It feels good. It feels good to batch content. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. If nobody else has anything, then that's probably, I think we're good. Okay.
Awesome. You guys are so welcome.
Cool.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
You're welcome.